Hi everybody, in today's video we are going to be talking about something that often gets overlooked but is vitally important for the health of you and your building. Let me explain. Yes, you guessed it, we are talking ventilation and the importance of installing a mechanical complete system. Now, ventilation is crucial for creating a healthy living environment for you and your family. And it need and not cost you an arm and a leg. So let's just briefly go over what we've actually got here. We've got the reject end, which is 125mm, and the main takeoff point, which is for the kitchen, which is the same 125mm. And you've got 4 ports around here which are 80mm. Like I mentioned before, 2 of them are blocked off, so you can expand this up if needed. We've got a slightly smaller opening there, like I say, that can be drilled out. Now the reason why I would drill that out, if the closest one to the unit, let's say, is sort of 10 foot away, I'd leave it like that. Then I'll go to another room, let's say 15 foot away, I would drill that slightly bigger, so it's got more of a pull from the further away room. That's why you've got the option of removing certain diameters. Now I do need to connect these up with some flexes. Another good thing is you can replace these and have controls on them for opening and shutting to slow down the speed of the air evacuation out of a particular room. So yeah, quite versatile. I would say very cheap. This was €60. Not a lot to it, and they last 4 years. Now this particular unit, which we call a VMC, is basically a mechanical means of moving air about. This set me back €60, so probably roughly about $60, maybe less or more in your country, but it's such a good investment. Now it runs on, it's about 29 to 30 watts of power. This particular model has a 2-speed low and a high. I have actually got one of these fitted in my own cottage. We've had it in there for 13 years, no problem with it whatsoever. Like I say, we've done it on a switch, so it's not constantly on. You can have it constantly on if you like, on low or high. But yeah, not a very complicated piece of kit, but vital all the same. Now this one comes with various accessories, different sizes, and I'll go over that right now. Now this particular model has 5 takeoff points. The biggest one is for the kitchen, which is this one. Then you drop down to smaller ones, which are for the shower room, toilets and other areas like that. So the big one there, we've got one there with restricted hull, and another one there, and the other 2 are blanked off. Obviously if you don't use them, you leave them blanked off, but you do need to use them. You can drill various size holes, depending on how far away your hose has got to reach that room. With me so far? Right, let's talk about some of the benefits of installing one. Number 1 I would consider is the air quality. It removes pollutants, particles and allergens. Yep, very important. Number 2, it controls humidity, which prevents mold growth, which can cause structural damage to your building. So yeah, that's an equally important one. Number 3, it regulates the temperature, distributing the air around the building. Number 4, the health benefits. It reduces the risk of respiratory problems such as allergens and other things that can irritate the respiratory system. And also the obvious one is it removes odours from, let's say, the toilet and the kitchen. So yeah, lots there to consider, all very, very valid in their own right. Right, get rid of my script now. I hate reading off a script. yeah, but yeah, it was worth it. So as we come up from the front of the cottage, we go towards the back, and that is where the bathroom will be. So what I'm going to do is over in the corner, once I've had a bit of a tidy up there, we're going to build a little cupboard for that to sit in. And the reason why I'm putting it there, obviously it's close to the bathroom, but directly below is the kitchen. So we can drill a hole through there at the takeoff point exactly above the cooker. So step into the kitchen. Not quite sure where I'm going to have the cooker. It might be on that wall or it might be on that wall, but it doesn't matter because directly above is where the unit will be. And I'm going to drop down the ceiling in here, but simply we'll just have the takeoff point in this area somewhere. So now the other takeoff point I'm going to have down here is in that back corner there. Now the reason why I'm putting it downstairs in the lounge in that far corner is because that's where the air won't move freely as much as it would do any other place in this room. We've got the window at the front there, we've got the door there, we've got the stairwell there, we've got the takeoff point there to the kitchen. So here, if anywhere, the air isn't going to move around so far. So I'm keen to get that moving as well. What I'm going to try and do is create a cross draft from the air vents from the window and the doors. We also need a takeoff point for the fire, because anyone with a wood burner knows that you must have a fresh inlet of air to feed oxygen to your fire for it to, you know, run efficiently. So yeah, we're going to have one takeoff point in the kitchen, we have a takeoff point here. Don't need any that side, the rest will be back upstairs. So back upstairs, now above these Veluxes, each one comes with its own trickle vent that can be open and shut. They've got little insect grills on them. Now I pretty much never shut those, so that supplies a good cross section of ventilation over here. So we've got that. This is to the front of the cottage. So as discussed, that was the bathroom area. Not 100% sure of the layout yet, but I do know that the VMC, which we call it, is going in that corner there. Doesn't really affect anything else. And we've got a window in the shower bathroom. Now the same as downstairs, over in the corner here there isn't an opening, so that is one point where stale air will congregate. So we're going to have a vent over there somewhere, and that way we've got a good cross section from front to back, side to side of air circulation. So I've only just used 2 of the extra ports. Don't forget we've got the main one for the kitchen. So I've actually got another 2 ports to run off. Now when I installed this quite a few years ago in my own cottage, I did think about the summer use of it as well. So what I've done, I run a ducting up to the very top in the loft, because our bedrooms are up in the peak, if you like. Now obviously in the heat rises and it stays up in your bedrooms. Now I did run a duct, but when I come to redecorating I didn't connect it up. Now I've regretted that ever since I've done that. So what I may do in here is have 2 points in the highest point of the ceiling. It's going to be like that, and there's going to be a flat bit at the top, a little bit of a ceiling, and I may put 1 point there and 1 down that end. Variable shut-in vents so that we're not sucking all the hot air out in the winter, and maybe just have them open in the summer. Cool air pulled in from down below, yep, and then extracted all the hot air out and then out through the roof. So I'm going to try that. Nothing to lose apart from a little bit of you know, ducting. I'm going to probably try and get some insulated ducting. You can get it with and without. I think with the insulated ducting, it's flexible. It could just stop any condensation, hot and cold, you know, meeting. So yeah, wherever possible, we're going to go for a bit of insulation. Yeah, okay, let's have a tidy up. Work out best place for this unit. Now we've had some, you know, terrible downpours, hence the leaks and that, but it's, you know, pales into insignificance of some of the storms that you've had, especially in America. Just hope that you're all safe and all your family and friends are as well. So yeah, my thoughts go out with everybody in that area. So what I've done with my other one is suspended it. It comes with some hooks somewhere. Yep, there's a hook there and a hole there. So, you know, if you was to let this just sit on the floor, for argument's sake, the vibrations would run through your boards. So by suspending it, it kind of eliminates that. So that's what we're going to do. Now, what I thought I'd probably do is, whilst incorporating the stuff that has to go in, I've kind of designed the bathroom around the stuff that's can't really be moved about much. So we've got to have the outlet for the toilet and the bath over this end. So the toilet's going to have to be here. We've got head height to contend with. So what I thought is maybe build kind of partition wall here to house this, so it's hidden, and then that sort of creates an area for the toilet to go in, you know, your toilet roll, and you know, kind of a bit of a barrier, and then I can configure the bath layout or maybe the shower another way. So yeah, I'm keen to keep the outlet over here for the toilet, which is the main outlet. The bath water can be tapped into that, you know, pretty much anywhere. So that's me thinking behind this. And also, you know, probably extend it down and have some under, you know, eave storage, little cupboards and that, so you ain't got it all on display in the bathroom. Maybe put some doors in it, depends on where I have the toilet and bath, but sort of run it across here, down here, shelve it out, that can be sort of down that end, and it would help to condense the noise a little bit. You know, we're upstairs in the bedroom, maybe pack that out with some sound insulation. Yeah, I think that'd be an idea actually. Yeah, maybe make this a shut off area, obviously with access. I've never really needed to access mine, although it's open downstairs in my kitchen, so we don't really suffer from the noise. But yeah, I could put an access panel on the front. Any problems, just unscrew it. Yeah, keep that nice and quiet. So that's another consideration. We're designing as we go along. I prefer it that way actually, you know. I like to bounce around a few ideas, but ultimately how my mind works and brain is I have to get my hands, you know, onto it, and it kind of tells me the best way to go. Although it's quite a big area, we're not actually really losing anything in this room because of the eaves, so just making the most of it really. We've got to insulate this back wall as well. I will line it as well as the front of it, as you know, in keeping with everything. So maybe some doors here, shelves, or a door there, and then the box, and then shelves this way. You know, I think as far as suspending it, I think something as simple as some bungees. Maybe one up that way, one to the side, one to that way, so it's supported, doesn't weigh much. That way I've still got movement. Yeah. Nothing too complicated needed at all. Just returned back from the shops. 6 metre length, 125, and 6 metre length in the 80. So, oh, it's like slinky. So that should do us for the first 2 outlets. That's all they had in stock, so I couldn't get the rest of the equipment, but we can certainly get it all fitted and ready to be wired up. Of course, my bungees. Okay, let's make the framework. I think if I leave it to about 500, so to make it a bit easier, we'll just pop a screw into there, that way I can get an accurate measurement. And by running this stud wall up here, I'm only going to go to here just to house that, but I may extend it all the way across as mentioned. That way it'll give me a backing for all my pipes to disappear behind. I do plan to have the sink in this area, sort of directly underneath the window, so yeah, I think that will serve several purposes. I've always had it planned like this, maybe door opening and then some shelves, so we'll probably shut that off completely for soundproofing and that, or maybe even a door, something like that. So yeah, make the most of this dead space underneath here. Now normally I'd just screw it straight through here into this, but because the floors are so sort of out of shape and off level, I wouldn't really get a true fixing, so I'm just going to use these. Pop them on. The main thing is getting these level, which it is, it's great. I know that one's level, I'll just put the extra ones in between. And then wherever I decide to put the door opening, just simply cut it there and just frame it out, put the doors in. Now when I was doing my research on the ventilation side of things, they reckon that old houses are up to 50% more, not polluted, but more contaminants inside than new houses. Whether or not, you know, that is true for all countries, I'm not quite sure, but yeah, so it's quite important that even with these old houses that you do make sure you've got adequate ventilation, fresh air. I mean, in my cottage that we're living in down the end, I'm always opening the doors and windows to exchange all the air. It's a good idea to have just normal fans going. The other thing I was going to mention, I don't know, I would imagine quite a few of you with wood burners have got them. The fans that sit on top, never purchased one of those. I will buy one because I've been reading up, obviously you get a good review off of people that are selling them, but they reckon that, you know, they don't cost nothing to run, it just uses the heat from the fire, which, yeah, I understand how that works, but it circulates the warm air around the room more efficiently. They say, you know, it's cost efficient. Whether or not, you know, it's true, I don't know, but I do intend to get one. I'm going to try it out. I'll let you know how I'll get on. Let me know if you've got one, what's the best one? 2 blade fan, multi-blade fan, depends on, you know, the size of your fire, I understand that, but started to read into it, and yeah, I'd like to try a few out, so definitely going to buy one, try it on my fire, and that will dictate to what one I use on the one here. Important tip, always put your batteries on charge before you start. Thought mine was, but hey, I've got another drill. Although it's a bit noisy, it's an impact driver. Okay, 2 more to do, and then we'll start building the frame to suspend that unit from. And another thing that can be helpful, you know, if you've got something that's out, so when you're cutting your uprights, they're all different measurements, start with the longest first, and if you make a mistake on the cut or it starts to feel loose, you can move it along to the next one and trim that. If you do it the other way around, not quite so easy, is it? So it's easily remedied, you know, I knew the framework was out, so it's just as easy to do it like this. So now that I've got the basic framework in, got my bungees, let's see if we can get this hanging just right. Hello, just had a site visit.
Hello.
Alright. Is it that late already?
It is. Dinner's well underway. I was wondering where you were.
Working away. Still ain't finished yet, have I?
Normally your tummy's rumbling by now though.
It is, I'm surprised they can't hear it. Right, see you later.
See you in a little while. I'll give you a shout when dinner's ready.
Okay, yeah, I think that's going to work. I've just put the first 2 straps on. Now for the back ones. Yep, I didn't realise how late it was. Time flies when you're having fun. Often the way up here. Okay, it goes over. This is just a temporary setup so I can see how it's going to be. Nothing too complicated. Yeah, brilliant. Allows me plenty of movement. You won't get no vibrations travelling through the rubber bungees. That's great. So yeah, it doesn't need to be anything fancy, just operational. So I can move these straps left to right should I need to. Yeah. So that will go in the kitchen ceiling. That will go in the furthest away point, which is the bedroom. So yes, we've got plenty of space to get the side ones on. This one is fairly straightforward, just goes straight over there. Probably cut that down, that's enough for the exit as well. Remember that's going downstairs, so that will connect onto that. And then over this side, just here, that's the exhaust, that's the reject air. That will leave there, and then I'll run it the other side of this wall here, maybe out through the roof there. So after I've run all the ducting where I need to go, I'll make a front across here, put a ceiling in it, insulate it, get some, I think the best stuff for soundproofing is like a corrugated foam. So I'm going to insulate the outside and then stick it on the inside on the plasterboard, and then that way it's nicely concealed, nice and quiet. Plenty of space to run all my flexes everywhere. I think it's important to keep those as straight as you can so you don't get any pockets where moisture could sit maybe. It's certainly a challenge when you renovate these old properties. Years ago, you know, there was plenty of airflow and they had open fires and stuff like that. I don't think they suffered much from mould because the buildings were breathing. So once you start modernising them and start creating a sealed envelope, the moisture can't get out. You know, you can sometimes, you know, if you're not doing your research onto how your building is constructed, you could be doing more damage really. So yeah, you definitely need to do your homework. It's not one size fits all, although there are some basic principles. But yeah, just, you know, research, and have a go. You know, you won't do no harm in installing something that's going to move the air about and refresh it. It's definitely as important, you know, as insulation. And with insulation, the idea is you're keeping the cold away from the heat. If you get moist, warm air, it's always going to be attracted to the cold spots. So if you can, you know, break that barrier, make it nice and warm so you don't get that cold transfer, you know, you're minimising the chance of going, you know, it going mouldy. You know, we're battling with it in our place. We've got a fan, we've got ventilation. I've just got to beef up the insulation. You know, we've got a lot of stone walls in there and they can get quite cold. So okay, that is it for this video. Let me know if you've had any experiences with one of these, one of those fans for the fire. Yeah, be interesting to hear. See you in the next one. Bye for now. Okay, coming. It's me dinner.